And I must continue to pose like a tall tool. And just kidding, compadre, we all love you. Please don't leave the show. You're the last good antagonist we've got. This week's episode skipped the usual formalities and instead opened with Hikaru's grandfather again. I mean, I get the whole storm before the rainbow theme they're trying to go for in these latest episodes, but do we really need to check in on this old geezer twice in a row? Well, in any case, Hikaru used her pendant to track down their stolen Star Color pens, and by extension Fua and Blue Cat. Said perpetrator was visiting the petrified form of the leader of her race without her makeup on, it seemed. All the while, her kidnapped victim was just being her usual overly peppy self. Seriously, this little fluffball is starting to annoy me. And Blue Cat kind of agreed with me and considered giving her something to satiate her growling stomach. Is there a special ingredient in that cookie? Then again, I'm probably one to talk when I look like this. Elsewhere, Deadmeat, I-1, was looking for her ex-servant when Kapard had arrived to replace her by order of Galorger. But this little lady was determined to have her vengeance for essentially killing off everyone's husbando. Blue Cat took the time to show Fua how her race had begun to terraform this desert planet before I-1 had arrived. More on that later though, as the Precure had arrived to take back their merchandise. They had an above average fight with her, both sides used some interesting tactics, though it was obvious the animators were saving their manpower for the next episode. Sorry, my mistake. Seriously, look at that animation. I can't be the only one that thought this was what was gonna happen, right? It certainly would have prevented the two supposedly smart members of this team from looking kind of hapless. Anyway, Hikaru managed to corner her near the shrine she was at earlier, and after Fua gave her usual "don't fight" shtick, Blue Cat again tried to make a run for it.
I'm not me! Are you me or am I you?
Of course, she was referring to the fact that like Hikaru trying to save Fua, she was trying to save her people. And after a brief bout of PTSD triggered by seeing one of her smoke bombs explode on her leader's face, Blue Cat was brought to her knees and ended up exposing her true form.
Well, there it is.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why this is meant to be a big surprise or anything, unless she wanted to hide the fact that she's from Planet Rainbow, but then are there just no other cat aliens in the universe or something?
There's a simple explanation for that.
Well, okay, Blue Cat actually did give a reason for the constant disguise as she explained her backstory. As it turned out, her race were nomads who had been feared for their ability to change forms, which, yeah, to be fair, that is an off-putting ability. And because of it, they were ostracized and forced to seek a planet of their own. Yeah, a little detail I overlooked in the last episode was the fact that Planet Rainbow's population was a mere 1,800, which, yeah, seems awfully small for a whole planet of cat people. But if they had only recently arrived on this desert planet to colonize it, then it would make a lot more sense. The fact that they needed to find a planet likely meant they were kicked off their original planet because, I guess, they were mutants. Which, yeah, a little cliched or not, does make for an intriguing setup for this advanced alien race that even managed to use the natural minerals of this planet to begin terraforming it. They even seemed like they were on the verge of entering into the Space Union by creating jewelry to barter, which, cruelly enough, would find its way onto the markets, but not by their hands. But yeah, this is all really interesting stuff. Hopefully, they'll expand a lot more about these cat people, because the last thing you ever want to do is pull an MIB International and not do anything with your many interesting concepts. By the way, not to toot my own horn too much, but called it. Anyway, the planet was named by the leader of Blue Cat's people, Livio, who, I didn't want to say this last time, but I am not a fan of that design. Seriously, one of the last things I'd ever want to see is a furry bootleg of a Leishi Matsumoto character. She was the one who faced down I-1 that day, and when things went south, she was also one of the last people Blue Cat spoke to before her planet was completely overtaken. From there, the rest was history, with her utilizing her 3 aliases to gather intel on how she could restore her planet and people to normal. And the solution, of course, was the pens and Fua. But just as she made a declaration that she would do anything to accomplish her goals, Hikaru tried to prove her wrong. Or maybe she just forgot about them because they're not her main target. Just saying, Hikaru, you're kind of reaching. Of course, the villains chose now of all times to strike. While Kappa originally intended to dispose of them himself, he backed down when I-1 used the Dark Pen on herself. Again, the best villain we've got left. Also, yeah, I'm betting next week will be I-1's final episode as a villain. Still, she wasn't going to go down without a fight, and for some reason, she managed to beat the Precure? Like, okay, they might be tired from their fight with Blue Cat and everything, but didn't they also defeat an amalgamation of her plus the other two generals? Anyway, realizing that I-1 was only after her, Blue Cat tried to get the Precure to leave. However, in one of her better moments, Hikaru told her that she couldn't leave her alone, as her explorer spirit was telling her that she wanted to learn more about her new shape-shifting friend. And, inspired by her words, Blue Cat stepped forward. Alright, we all know what's coming up, the big debut of this new 6th Ranger. Usually, these are big special moments where the new teammate draws power from a source different than the main team, like a brand new item, or even something previously used by the villains, or even a previously established item in a new and interesting way. Considering how much they talked about in this episode, maybe it'll have something to do with the rainbow ore that the cat people were mining, or maybe her perfume thing will unlock a new power. Heck, they even have a toy listed on Amazon right now. Oh, there are just so many interesting possibilities. Boy, I can't wait to see her get her powers the exact same way as everyone else. Huh. Yeah, this is another reason why I'm starting to get annoyed by this little Deus Ex Machina. Though, the new pendant did seem to get a reaction out of Dark Nest and the Tauros Princess, so maybe there's more to it. As for her transformation, it's unfortunately my second least favorite transformation of this series. The only thing that bumps it above Hikaru's are these cool silhouettes of all of Blue Cat's previous aliases. Otherwise, it just kind of lacks the spectacle and quality of everyone else's transformations. That said, I do really like the design of Cure Cosmo, barring elements from all of her aliases, and the pink streak in her pigtails adds a nice accent. Thus, the episode ended with Cosmo taking full advantage of her 6th Ranger flag to beat down the monster that the main heroine struggled against. While this episode did a great job of developing Blue Cat's character and backstory, it also kind of came at the cost of giving Cure Cosmo a bit of a meh debut, but that might be fixed in the next episode. Once again, the world building is the best part of this series, with us already getting a good idea of what the cat people of Planet Rainbow were like, and hints at deeper lore. As a result, it makes Blue Cat a very easy character to sympathize with. Her people made so much progress after finding their own planet to call their own, and for it all to be taken away in an instant by some Valley Girl Cyclops is beyond disheartening. Though at least said Valley Girl is showing a lot more personality lately. While I still don't like I-1, I will admit, her raw rage over Bakunin's betrayal is something gripping. Heck, Kappa stepping aside to let his comrade get her vengeance out is a nice touch to his character too. Now, if only they could do something about Tenjo. And while I made fun of them, I did like the moments between Hikaru and Blue Cat, mostly because the former is starting to form a more cohesive character thanks to having someone to butt heads with. My only complaints with this episode are some subpar animation complete with that same star punch we've seen way too much in this show. But it is somewhat justified by the clear effort that's going into next week's episode, which hopefully will give our new 6th Rangers some more standout moments, as Cure Cosmo kind of felt like an afterthought here. I don't know, maybe it's the underwhelming transformation, Fua becoming an overused plot device, or how they're relying on the old trope of having the main heroines be defeated by an enemy just so that the new girl could come in and save the day. But I do hope Blue Cat's Precure persona is just as interesting as all of her other personas, because I am really starting to like this cat. She knows all too well the feeling of loss, and while she wants to do anything to regain what she lost, she'll also do everything she can to ensure that no one else has to share that feeling. Since Twinkle took last week off, I might start growing in a bit of a beard, as well as getting a lot of good work done on the final part of my STPC review. I'd say I'm currently about a little under halfway done, and we'll shoot for an early July release. From there, I'll probably revisit some of my old topics and reviews before tackling New Stage 2. Look forward to it, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and... Shoot, not batteries. Look behind you!